Tonight, Extinction Rebellion plans 2 weeks of disruption in London. It starts on Monday. The Square Mile will later be targeted, but they've promised public transport this time is off limits. Good evening. Extinction Rebellion is planning to disrupt the capital with a fortnight of protests starting on Monday. The campaigners say they will target the Square Mile with a few more surprises in store. It is the third year running the group has demonstrated. They say this year it's more pressing than ever to make the government take action on the climate crisis. Here's Sam Holder.
From a big pink boat blocking the middle of Oxford Circus to scaling Big Ben, blocking bridges with skate parks and protests on top of tube trains. Extinction Rebellion have made their mark and brought central London to a standstill more than once. Now they've announced they're returning for a third year because they say their message about the climate emergency isn't being heard loudly enough. Action starts on Monday at 10 at Trafalgar Square.
Well, often we find that with civil disobedience, people like the idea of it in the past, but they don't like it so much in the present. What we've had in the past is very, very big debriefs. We think and try to learn a lot from what happens and make sure that we're improving our processes all the time.
Are we going to see mass disruption for ordinary Londoners?
There will be some public disruption, but there's also an attempt increasingly from XR, I think, to tell stories through the actions.
The plan is for 2 more weeks of demonstrations. Financial institutions, which they say fund the climate crisis, are in their sights. Extinction Rebellion say much of their action will focus on here, the City of London, the Square Mile, the financial heart of the capital. But considering it's the end of August, the summer holidays, and many are still working from home, if the aim is disruption, there may not be many people here to actually disrupt. In response to previous unpopular protests, particularly here at Canning Town Station, there are no plans to target public transport. The relationship between the movement and the Met Police is fraught. The Commissioner determined to stop disruption.
They will be met with a fair, lawful, and we have to stick within the law, but firm, and where we possibly can be, preemptive response.
Last September, there were well over 600 arrests and claims from Extinction Rebellion that the police were preventing their right to protest.
So, Sam, some of the details are still quite vague, aren't they?
Yeah, Duncan, vague is the right term. Part of the reason is that fraught relationship I just mentioned. Extinction Rebellion don't want to tip off the police about where they're going to be. The other reason is this concept of Extinction Rebellion being decentralised. So there are no official leaders, and it's up to the protesters to sort of decide where they're going to go in that moment, which makes it very hard to predict where they're going to be. So for Londoners, it's a case of wait and see to find out where these protests are actually going to happen.
OK, we'll report on it next week. Thank you, Sam.